Hey there, welcome to Your Life Rocks. My name is Jenny Stemmerman, the founder of Your Life Rocks. And if this is your first time here and you are a working mom, this is the place for you. Make sure that you hit subscribe down below so that you don't miss any of the content that we have, because I promise you, it will make your life easier. We create content to help you balance everything that God has called you to, including your faith, parenting, marriage, career, home health, finances, friends, and fun. In addition to the Redefining Balance podcast that we have every single week, which I will link down below, we also have a video on this channel to help you out, as well as our mobile app. You can download the Your Life Rocks mobile app by clicking the link down in the description or going into your app store and finding that. Inside there, you will find free courses, planning tools, resources, and a lot more. Now, one of my favorite things that you'll find inside of our Your Life Rocks app is our free course called Weekly Success Planning, because we believe that balance is possible when you put God first, have a strong community, and have systems in your life that are gonna make balance work for you. And one of those main systems is Weekly Success Planning. So inside of that course, you can learn all about how to implement that for yourself. Plus there's some tools along the way. And one of the things that I do as part of my weekly planning is to deal with all of the paper that comes in. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a video all about how I pack my work bag when I'm doing my weekly planning, and I will link to that right up above so that you can click on that and watch that video if you missed it. But part of doing my work bag is dealing with the paper, and that really has to come first. So while I'm doing my weekly planning today, I thought I would bring you along so you can see exactly what I do. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say this is my system. It's what works for me. I've tried so many other systems throughout the years and really have struggled to find something. So as you are on your journey, I hope that maybe some of the things that you see in my system might help you out. They might be things that you can kind of tweak the current system that you have and make it be a little bit more manageable, or even just help you set up a system if you don't have one already. Okay, so since we're talking about paper systems, one of the things that I think it's important to talk about is what to do Monday through Sunday, or whatever day it is that you're doing your weekly planning, but the days that you're not doing your weekly planning, what you do with all of the paper that comes into your house. Because whether your kids are in school, which as the time I'm recording this, they're not because of COVID, but whether it's the stuff that they bring in, or it's mail, or it's stuff that you bring home from church or work, or whatever it is for you, there's a lot of paper that comes into our house every single day. And so we need to have a simple system on what works first before we can talk about how we tackle it as part of our weekly planning, because systems really truly are everything. So for me, you'll see here, this is my paper bucket, and this is where all of the paper goes. So this bottom bucket here is where all of the paper goes as it is coming into my house. So every time we go get the mail, the first thing we do is we take out anything that is just junk mail and toss it, so it does not go into the paper bin. But then anything that is stuff that we just need to go through, or bills or papers, anything else that is not necessarily garbage right away, it goes into this bin, and that is all. And then when we do our weekly planning, then that is when we will dive into this bin. Now this bin up here, you'll notice there are different folders in it. When we go through the paper, I will take these out of its bin and lay them out on the desk, and then you can kind of see how they kind of work into the system. Okay, so like I said before, today is my weekly planning, so I'm gonna walk you through what I do with this big bin full of paper when I'm doing my weekly planning. Okay, so like I was saying before, this course, the Weekly Success Planning course, that really teaches you how to just up-level your Sunday prep. That's not just included about paper, but like the entire system is available for free inside the free Your Life Rocks app, along with a ton of other tools and resources designed specifically for working Christian moms just like you. So you can download that from your app store. You can link down below. We have the links right there in the description for you. Okay, so as we're getting into the paper system, so the very first thing you want to do is have a clean, clear system. I use my desk in my home office just because that's where my paper bin is, and so it just makes it a lot easier. So I start with a clean surface, and then I get out everything I'm going to need. The things I'm going to need: letter opener, then I'm going to need my folder. And again, if you've missed the video where I'm talking about my work bag, I introduced this folder, but that is introduced into that video, so we'll link to that up above. And then I have the folders that you saw in the bin from the top part of my paper bin. So these are all things that stuff in the mail or the things that I'm gonna go through with my paper might have to go into one of these. Now, sometimes this is where it can get a little bit complicated, but again, this is the system that works good for me. You'll notice one of the things on here is like bills to pay, right? So I've got this stand-up folder and it says bills to pay. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. But so you'd think like, okay, so you put your bills in there, but then what about this one, where it's just the folder that goes with me, so the things that I schedule that need to get done every single, throughout the week, it goes in here. So sometimes the bills go in here, you would think it would go in here, but honestly, they all stay in here because I pay my bills from my home office where this lives, and it goes on my calendar as an SOP, so I don't need to go try to find it in this other folder full of other things. It can go in here. Now, if I have to call someone about a particular bill and it's not just as easy as logging into the website and paying it, then it might go into the folder because it's not just paying the bill, it's calling someone about it. So it's a little bit different, but that's the way that I kind of define it for myself. So now that I have a clean surface and I have everything laid out that I'm going to need, then it's just as much as going through the mail, tossing away in my garbage bag, my recycle bag that I have here, all of the envelopes or other things that I don't need. Now, as I'm going through the mail, I'm gonna be making different piles. I'm gonna make a pile of things to file, and my file pile goes in my top bin right behind where the file folders were. And then once a month I go through that and file things. I used to do it every single week, but it just gets too much. But you can do it every single week if that's what works well for you. So I have a pile of things that need to be filed. I also have a pile of things that need to be shredded. I have a shredder right here, so when I'm all done, then that's one of the last things that I can do is just shred everything and then take it out for recycling. But then I also have some other systems that I use for paper. One is I have a large notebook that I use for all of my son's medical stuff. So if anything has to do with his medical stuff, whether it's medication, prescriptions, letters from doctors, whatever it is, it goes into that particular binder. And then I have another system for my kids' schoolwork, which if that's something that you want to see, it's a whole different system all in itself, then make sure you put down in the comments that you want to see what I'm doing with all of my kids' school paperwork. Put that in the comments and I'd be happy to shoot that video and show you. So now let's get busy opening up all of the mail. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and have you watch me open up all my mail because one, how boring is that? Number two, it's got some personal stuff in there that I might not want everyone to see. So as I'm going through my paper pile and opening up my mail, I instantly put it where it needs to go. So if it needs to be shredded, it can get shredded. If it needs to be filed, it can go into the file pile. If it needs to go into either my son's medical notebook, it can go into that, or it can go into the system that I use for the kids' school stuff. Or if there's something that needs to be done with it, like an action, I need to call someone, or I need to do something, deliver something, sign something, drop it off, whatever, it goes into this folder, and this folder goes into my work bag. Now, before it goes into this folder, or I should say before it goes into my work bag, it does get scheduled on the calendar. And so I go through this a couple times a week just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But really, it goes on my to-do list as something that I need to do. And then when I need to do it, I can easily find it in this particular folder. Now, you can use Google Calendar if that works well for you. I love to use Sunsama for all of my to-dos and how I plan my work day. And so if you want more information about Sunsama, because it is kind of hard to figure out what exactly I'm saying or how it's spelled, you can go to yourliferocks.com/plan your day and learn more. I do have an upcoming video on how I use Sunsama and how I really use that as a tool to stay productive, stay focused throughout my workday, and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. Now, I should say I work from home probably about 80% of the time. 20% of the time I'm in offices in different places and kind of traveling around for work. But even when I worked 100% in an office not in my home, I had a similar paper system where I had, number one, a place where everything went until I needed to deal with it. I had a specific time and day in which I dealt with it, and then I followed the same system of dealing with it, of really going through everything, figuring out what needs to be done, and if there's an action required, then I take that action right then and there, or put it on my calendar. Now, the action might be filing, or it could be shredding, or it could be passing it on to someone else. I do have a folder for that, things for my husband. So if I find papers laying around the house that are his, or if something comes in the mail that is his, I just put it in there until he needs it, and then I know exactly right where it's at. So I hope that this paper system was helpful for you to see the way that I kind of process paper in my house. I know it's one of those never-ending things, and I just got so sick and tired of having piles everywhere, and everything needs a good system. When you have a good system, then it just doesn't get very overwhelming anymore, and that's why we have that as one of our pillars to creating balance as a working mom. Now again, if you want to watch more videos all about how working moms can create more balance through having God first, building community, and systems in their life, make sure you hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and share this with your other working mom friends. So until then, keep building a life that rocks. Bye.